like what is mental health?
Hmm.
How how would you explain it to someone that probably doesn't really understand
Hmm.
when people talk about mental health?
Yeah. So yeah, a good question to begin with. So mental health is all your attributes, your behaviors, your thought patterns that govern how your mind functions. So that's quite a complex definition, but essentially it's how balanced your mind is with all the chemicals that bathe the mind, all the transmitters that get fired from the brain. How are you on the scale, mood scale? How are you on the confidence scale? How are you sleeping? How are you interacting? So essentially, it's your inward interaction with yourself and your outward interaction with yourself as well. So it's we know with depression you get withdrawn, you start ruminating, so that's more inward.
Okay.
So it's inward dysfunction. Psychosis is more of outward dysfunction, psychosis or mania. So you've got inward and outward. So it's essentially how you interact with yourself,
How you interact with yourself.
yeah, and how you interact with other people essentially. So how you understand yourself, your behaviors, your thought patterns, your sleeping, eating, and general day-to-day activities, and how you come across to other people as well in terms of social interactions, relationships, friendships.
So we all know we all have a form of mental health. We all have to look after our mental health.
Mm.
How is one meant to sort of acknowledge if something is not going right? Because from what I've looked onto on the internet, people talking about depression, a lot of the times they say like, looking back, I realized I had depression, but at the time they didn't realize. So how are we meant to acknowledge that I'm going through depression, or I'm suffering from anxiety, or things like that?
So quite a big part of self-diagnosis is to take a step back and say, what's my normal? Am I sleeping more or less than normal? Am I socializing more or less than normal? It's all about your norm, because your normal could be 7 hours of sleep a day. But if you're going from 7 to 4, for you that's abnormal, so you've dropped your sleep. What's the reason for that? And then it's actually speaking to the people, your partner, your wife, your parents. How have I been over the last 3 months? Have I been more talkative, less talkative? How, what do you see in me? And that's why sometimes we have that bias. It's called cognitive clouding.
Okay.
Your eyesight, your vision, your kind of mind's eye, your introspection gets clouded, because you wouldn't necessarily know that you're sleeping more, eating more, etc. So it's good to ask other people, how have I been? Am I dressing like I used to? Am I on time for work? Am I more lazy? Am I getting sluggish? Am I, forgetting things? How's my memory been? All these things point, if they're going abnormal, all these things point to something going on in the background.
What is mental health? To think about what mental health is, sometimes it's easier to first consider what physical health is. Physical health is referring to the body's ability to function. If we're talking about the body's ability to function, we might look at our breathing or respiratory rate, our cardiovascular health, fat composition, our flexibility, our mobility. So all of these things encompass our physical health, and we'd look at our ability to function in all of these areas. When we're referring to mental health, we're talking about the mind's ability to function. And normally things that we would look at in this space are our functioning of our thoughts, our emotions, and also our behaviours, because many of our behaviours are dictated by our frame of mind. Overall, when we're talking about health, we're looking at our state of being at that particular time, and that might be good, average, poor, and everything that kind of falls in between. So if we're talking about mental health, the good end, we will be talking about mental health, mentally healthy, all the way through to poor mental health, which often we would refer to as mental illness if it impacts our functioning enough. Usually for someone to be identified as having a mental illness, we're talking about a significant impact on their ability to function. And usually when we're trying to decide about someone's ability to function, we'll look at different areas of their life. So it will be different depending on the person. For example, if someone's a parent, then would be looking at their ability to function as a parent, do the roles, duties and responsibilities that are necessary meeting the child's needs. So if you're in the workforce, what's your capacity to function in that space? Are you able to do the roles, responsibilities and duties that you're required to? Turning up on time, handing in good work, meeting deadlines. Having a good understanding and awareness of mental health helps you to identify changes in your mental health and also changes in mental health for the people that you love and care about. For more information about mental health, well-being and mindfulness, follow.
Hi, my name is Emily and I'm a psychotherapist. So what is mental health? Well, mental health encompasses emotional, psychological and social well-being. It influences your cognition, perception and behaviour, so how we think, act and feel. It also determines how a person handles stress, interpersonal relationships and decision making. Mental health is important at every stage of life, so from early childhood into adolescence, adulthood and old age. Like and follow to learn more about supporting your mental health.